You useless parasite, get out of your parents' house right now. As I was moving down the hallway in my wheelchair, I was suddenly approached by my sister-in-law. It was the usual harassment, so I pretended not to hear her. But then she stood in front of me, blocking my way. The next moment, I felt as if my body was floating, followed by an impact. It hurts. Suddenly, Catherine pushed me and my wheelchair to the floor. I felt a sharp pain in my arm and ended up sprawled on the floor. Furthermore, she laughed mockingly and pushed the wheelchair out of my reach with her foot. Why would you do something like this? Serves you right. I won't give back your wheelchair until you say you're leaving home. Catherine always looked down on me, treating me terribly as if it was nothing. I can never understand this person. That's when I decided to leave the home I was used to. Now, this big house and all its wealth are mine. Catherine smiled wickedly, as if she was a demon, pleased with herself. At that moment, I swore revenge on my sister-in-law, who would do anything for her own desires. I am Emily, 33 years old. 3 years ago, I missed a step on a rainy day at the station, fell down the stairs, and ended up with paraplegia, now living a life dependent on my wheelchair. When I realized I couldn't move my legs, I cried tears of frustration for a while. But now I've accepted reality and have adapted to do what I can, even working from home. Originally living at my parents' house, I had it remodeled 2 years ago to be more wheelchair friendly. And since I'm conscious of being seen, I spend most of my time indoors. My brother and his wife, Catherine, who married a year ago, also live with us at our family home. Catherine is 3 years older than me. Initially, I was happy as if I had gained a real sister, but that was a huge mistake. The day Catherine moved in, after finishing unpacking, she smiled at me and asked in a gentle tone, "Now that we're living together in this house, I'd like to have a heart-to-heart talk in Emily's room to get along better." Absolutely, I also want to get along with you, so I'm happy. Expecting a pleasant life ahead, I was excited as Catherine pushed my wheelchair into my room. The moment the door closed with a bang, her expression changed completely from the gentle one before. Frowning as if she was a different person and said something shocking. "You know, you're an eyesore. Is it not just your legs, but your ears that are bad? You in that wheelchair are an eyesore." Unable to keep up with Catherine's drastic change, I was dumbfounded and replied vaguely with a laugh, "That's a joke, right?" To which Catherine berated me further. "First of all, I hate jokes. It's all true, obviously. But, didn't you just say you wanted to get along? That was just an excuse to be alone with you." Her unexpected words threw me into a panic, and my hands began to tremble as I covered my mouth. Wait a minute. I can't grasp the situation. Does she hate me? Taking a deep breath, trying to comprehend what was said, Catherine berated me further. "You're a parasite, living off others without working, just loafing around the house. How can you say something like that? Did you come to my room just to say these things?" "Yes. Having a leech like you in the house makes me sick. I never dreamed she could be this kind of person." My mind is still in chaos, but I felt I had to speak up and look Catherine in the eye to respond. "I do work and contribute to the household expenses. Don't lie. How can you work if you're always at home? Idiot." I explained that I work from home, but she wouldn't believe me. Instead, she said, "The useless one who eats up the family's wealth should leave this house." Being berated like this by my brother's wife, whom I've only met a few times since he got married, was a huge shock to me. Unsure of what to do, I was left bewildered when Catherine said, "I can't stand even breathing the same air as you," and left the room. Alone, the words Catherine said kept replaying in my mind. Should I tell my brother? As I was about to open the door to my room, I suddenly remembered my past self. After falling down the stairs and waking up in the hospital, realizing my legs didn't move, I couldn't accept this new reality about myself. Despite saying I live looking forward, the truth is I hardly leave the house because I'm conscious of others' gazes. Maybe Catherine is in a similar situation to what I thought. Instead of stirring things up by talking to my brother and parents, I'll wait and see. Surely if we live together, we'll come to understand each other. With that thought, I calmed my trembling heart. In front of Catherine, I tried to act cheerfully and made efforts to talk to her first in hopes of getting along. However, Catherine's cold attitude only worsened day by day. When my parents and brother were around, she played the role of a kind sister. But as soon as they went to work, she started harassing me. Ever heard the saying, "He who does not work, neither shall he eat"? You don't even have the right to eat. One day, as soon as I sat down to eat, she threw away my lunch. As I've said before, I do work and I contribute to the food expenses. So, I do have the right to eat. Keep lying and your nose might grow like Pinocchio. No matter how much I tried to explain, Catherine wouldn't listen. Not only did she verbally abuse me, but she also intentionally placed objects in front of my door to trap me in my room. Unable to bear it any longer, when my parents and brother returned from work, I deliberately told them about what happened today in Catherine's presence to make sure she couldn't deny it. Catherine has been throwing away the food I try to eat and trapping me in my room. And it's causing me trouble. That's not true. Emily threw away the food because she didn't like what I made. I was cleaning the house and went to answer the phone, accidentally leaving the vacuum cleaner in front of Emily's room. I'm sorry for being such an imperfect wife. Emily, I'm sorry for making you feel uncomfortable. Catherine, acting like an actress with tears in her eyes, apologizing to me, had completely deceived my parents and brother. There's no way I can win this. I began to think that it's best if I just avoid dealing with Catherine. Since then, I mostly stayed in my room, hardly engaging in any conversation. One day, a year later, as I was returning to my room after breakfast, I crossed paths with Catherine in the hallway, and she started to berate me. Still planning to squat at your parents' house? I'm sick of persistent pests. Useless parasites like you should leave right now. Being verbally abused was usual, so I pretended not to hear her. But then she stood in front of me, blocking my way. Please move. When I tried to forcefully proceed, Catherine sneered and kicked the side of my wheelchair with force. I was hit with a violent shock and fell over before I could stabilize myself. Ah! It hurts. A sharp pain ran through my arm. I tried to get up but couldn't lift the wheelchair that was lying on its side. Amidst the pain and humiliation, as I was crawling on the floor, Catherine stood over me, arms crossed, trying to suppress her laughter, looking amused. Pathetic, what a sight. Please, help me. Fine, here you go. Then, she kicked the fallen wheelchair even further away, moving it out of my reach. Don't you think you're going too far? If we don't do this, we can't get rid of parasites, can we? Please return my wheelchair immediately. I won't give it back until you say you're leaving the house. What are you going to do? Seeing Catherine look down on me while doing such terrible things calmly made me decide to leave the home I was used to. Understood. Then, I'll move to a high-rise apartment. Huh? A high-rise apartment? As if you could afford that. Your excuses are almost pitiful at this point. You don't have to believe me. I'll leave the house, so please return my wheelchair. The helper will be here soon, so ask them for help. Finally, I can get rid of this money-eater. Now, this big house and all its wealth are all mine. Get on your precious wheelchair and start packing right away. For the first time, I realized this was her true nature. To go this far for her own desires, she truly is a terrifying person. She became the devil in my eyes, leaving me without returning my wheelchair and going off somewhere. The floor is cold. I'm getting cold. My body is exposed. I have to do something. Thrown into the hallway during the cold winter season, my body temperature was quickly drained. I tried to crawl to where the wheelchair was, but my injured arm was too weak to move me even a step. I hope the helper comes soon. What if I have to stay like this forever? As I continued to shiver from the cold, I heard the front door open and the helper arrived. Please help me. I cried out, and the helper rushed over in a panic, rubbing my injured arm unconsciously. The helper noticed something was wrong and immediately took me to the hospital. Fortunately, it was just a bruise with no bone abnormalities, so I was prescribed an ointment. Then, returning home with a bitter feeling, I began preparing to move out. I won't let this go. I'll reveal her true nature and make her regret it. On the day of the move, Catherine was getting ready to leave after finishing her breakfast. She hurriedly headed to the front door, making sure to tell me one last thing. Make sure you clean up and leave before I get back. And never come back to this house again. You don't have to worry. I'll be gone from here for good. Then, goodbye. Forever. Goodbye. Catherine was in a better mood than I had ever seen, her voice full of cheer. I wonder what face she'll make when she finds out about the tragedy that will befall her. Be prepared. My plan is about to be completed. Despite this, leaving the home I had grown attached to felt like being pulled back. And I said my goodbyes by touching the pillars and walls one last time. Goodbye, my beloved home. Thank you for everything. As the moving truck drove away, I watched the house disappear from view with a sense of longing. And just as I declared to Catherine, I moved to the top floor of a high-rise apartment. Looking out at the view outside, evening came before I knew it. The setting sun shone through the gaps between buildings, illuminating my face. Beautiful. I can see this every day now. Just as I was getting excited about my new life, my phone rang. The screen displayed Catherine, and I calmly answered the call. Hey. What's going on? There's nothing left in the house. It's because I've moved out. I'm busy, so I'm going to hang up now. Wait a minute. Who gave you permission to do such a thing? There's no TV, no air conditioner, not even a dresser. What have you done? Everything in the house was bought by me, so I don't need permission, do I? Huh? Nonsense. Return them at once. I won't be returning any of my belongings. By the way, the house's conversion to barrier-free, as well as the utility bills, have all been paid by me, you know? I should actually be asking you for money. Eh? You can't be serious. You don't like jokes, so I'm being honest here. And yes, I've moved to a high-rise apartment, just as I declared. It's the top floor, so the view is amazing. Since she called, I took the opportunity to tell her the truth that Catherine never bothered to listen to before. Did you know that the person you've been ridiculing all this time was the one providing you with food and a place to live? How do you feel now? That can't be. I've never been fed by you. How could someone who was holed up in the house earn any money? I'm a stock trader, making a killing. Stop lying. I used to work as a stockbroker before I became wheelchair-bound. So managing stocks is easy for me. Thanks to that, I now have savings of $3 million. Wait. Don't tell me. It's not your parents who are rich, but you? That's right. My parents and brother earn an average income. So I've saved up all my earnings for their retirement. Eh? I thought I was marrying into a wealthy family. Catherine's true feelings slipped out. Although I knew, asking directly confirmed what I had suspected. Didn't you love my brother? Love doesn't fill the stomach. I thought you were wealthy because of the big house and renovations.
Ah.
I was completely fooled. It seems you've misunderstood on your own. By the way, I also manage assets, and aside from the apartment I moved into today, I own several other properties. The real winner here is me. Too bad you misjudged. What did you say? You. I won't forgive you. Make all the noise you want. You should be more worried about yourself, though. Heh? I've put the house up for sale. We're still living there. That's too much. My parents and brother have moved out with me, so you're the only one left behind. Oh, right. I forgot to mention, my brother has already blocked your phone and emails. What? I almost laughed at Catherine's loud surprise. Catherine seemed to be frantically trying to contact my brother. But of course, she couldn't get through, which made her panic even more. All this was possible because you knocked me over in my wheelchair and injured me. Thank you for that. Huh? The helper saw what happened and told my parents. Which is why my family cooperated with me. In fact, we had been secretly planning to leave the house without Catherine noticing. Moreover, my brother had prepared something else to ensure Catherine would be caught off guard. Didn't my brother suggest last night, why don't you go out tomorrow? It's going to be tough with the move. That was to empty the house without you noticing. Catherine was silent for a moment, probably at a loss for words. But then she suddenly changed her tone, trying to sound sweet. Emily, I guess I went a bit too far with my pranks. From now on, I'll cherish you, so let's get along. Lying like that will only make your nose grow like Pinocchio. Don't nitpick. I want to be like real sisters with you, Emily. I can't stand to listen to such nonsense. By the way, this whole conversation is on speakerphone. And both my parents and brother are listening. None of them will forgive you. But my brother will divorce you, so please live well on your own. Catherine, realizing she was getting nowhere with me, made a last-ditch effort. Honey. Can you hear me? This divorce talk is just a joke, right? My brother doesn't seem inclined to answer your question. He's listening and laughing at your distress. Shut up. Hey, let's talk this over properly, okay? I'll find out where the high-rise is and come over right away. Please tell me where it is. Please. Surprised by her belief that she could still be forgiven, we all burst into laughter. Considering Catherine's persistence, I sternly warned her in a firm voice. If you try to enter the high-rise without permission, I will sue you for trespassing. Oh, don't say such scary things. I'm very serious. Moreover, for knocking me over in my wheelchair and causing injury, as well as the emotional distress, I will file a civil lawsuit for compensation. I have the medical certificate, so you can't escape this. Pay $20,000 promptly, please. If I have to pay that, I'll be broke. You have $3 million, you don't need the money. I'm demanding compensation to make you reflect on your actions. If you disagree, talk to my lawyer. So, goodbye. Forever. I don't care about a husband without money. But I don't want to part with the wealthy Emily. I apologize. I'll change my ways, so please forgive me. Forgive you? You must be joking. I cut her off decisively in the end. Just to be safe. I gave a photo of Catherine to the high-rise apartment's manager. And informed them that she was a person of concern. If she even steps inside, the security guards will immediately rush over. My brother no longer wanted to see Catherine's face. So I asked a lawyer I know to finalize the divorce. Since Catherine had squandered my brother's earnings, she only received $20 in the property division. She was living in the house we put up for sale without permission, but was discovered by the real estate company that bought it and was fined for trespassing. Now a criminal, Catherine has become unwelcome even at her own family's home, and is wandering the streets without a place to go. As promised, I filed for $20,000 in compensation. I will make sure she pays it no matter what. Our family has moved to a spacious, newly built high-rise apartment and is enjoying our days leisurely. While a large detached house was nice, the unobstructed views from the expansive windows are a refreshing change for me, who always sits in a wheelchair. On clear days, a beautiful mountain range is visible, and at night, the illumination from the building sparkles, providing new delights.